What's up, guys? Pittsburgh Weiss Schwartz back again with another multi-deck tech for you. With the release of both the Morphonica and Rezazuelan Extra Booster and the Poppin' Party Roselia Extra Booster just recently, we figured we'd dive back into the old BanG Dream that we all know and love with a couple new lists for you, primarily focused around some of those bands that got new support.
Awesome.
I am joined, as usual, by Carmen and Andy.
What's up?
Hello, everyone.
We're back.
We're back again
with a brand new track. More fucking BanG Dream. Okay.
But yeah, we'll jump right into it. I think Carmen's got his deck he made up first here.
Okay. 8-door. So in English, it's really cool. BanG Dream doesn't have a restriction list, so we get to play all 3 band cards in English. That was what I wanted to do. The Buns for Luck being red weirdly kind of pushes you into a whole red package, and it doesn't play well with the like choice pants stuff. Now, you could probably fit it, but like, I don't know. I wanted to come to a different angle. I wanted to play the Cocachino. I was like, oh, that's sick. I still wanted to play the really good like Choo-Choo Pareo package. So I was like, okay, let's just try to play everything. And let me tell you, all my slots disappeared like almost immediately. It was definitely like pretty hard to like shove everything in that I wanted to, but I think I made it work. I'm gonna start right out from the top here. I am playing what's this girl's name? The Morphonica left runner. She like runs to the left, right? Like a 3500 runs to the left.
I think it is left, yeah.
It's a 3500 evasive like card for going first. I think this is probably going to do better for you into the current meta than Clean Cut, since there's so much chaser, there's so much runner, both currently and coming, especially with Kagi at full power in the meta. I just figured, well, we'll just put the big fat card that can run away in there instead of the Clean Cut. But if you want to play Clean Cut, go right ahead. It doesn't really matter. 4 Yukinariki card is currently sitting at $40 on TCG Player. Kind of crazy for English right now, but
haven't seen that in a while.
Yeah, it's been a long time.
Really?
Base rarity card at like $35-$40, yeah. But
is the card that much better than the old Ricky they had?
Disgustingly better for how most BanG Dream decks play. All BanG Dream decks are like these weird non-interactive do my thing then try to kill you deck for the most part, and a Search Ricky is just the best possible tool for executing that strategy, which is why I am on 4. The card can also like refund itself. It can like pop back to hand if if you like cancel in that lane or something. I don't know. It's some weird high rolly effect, but it's a true Search Ricky and it can grab anything, so you play 4 of it. We are forced to run 4 of this Saya on reverse Kome. I fucking hate it. It's pretty useless, but it at least does mill cards into our grave to avoid the Kasumi fail case, which is not having events or having events and not hitting Kasumi. It's one of the two. So it's a little bit of extra mill. We need to have 4 of it because we need to ditch it for a Remy later. I'll get into that when I get to Remy. But that's part of the reason for the slot issue is you have to run 4 of this card that you probably otherwise wouldn't even play because I don't think you need it. 2 of the Chiuri. We talked about this in the set review, but Chiuri for the Christmas Kasumi package, even with this 4 of Kome that you're forced to play, is completely invaluable for ensuring that you always hit your Kasumi every single game. Just being able to add the warehouse to your hand instead of just ripping the Kasumi out of your deck while also milling your first deck means that you'll have more targets and that you'll be able to, chain a mill 4 from the the Chiuri into playing the event, into grabbing your Kasumi, into hitting a better refresh timing. It's a really good tool that they finally have, and I needed to jam it in here. We're still playing the Remy Brainstorm, even this far down the line. There is another option that you could play, but it's blue, and because you don't want to level the Saya, you don't really want to level Christmas Kasumis, you don't really want to level your finisher, any extra red is nice, so we're playing the Remy Brainstorm. 500 power is also pretty okay. It puts you at good numbers with Christmas Kasumi. It's always been good. One of the new Climax Swapper, it has Force Mill on play, but it's the only real Climax Swapper that they have, so you play it. Climax Swapper is really good for consistency. And then this Orisa is literally the Kasumi like top 2 rearrange drop search, which is like the only drop search that's better than the Okro drop search. Or I guess it's comparably good like utility drop search effects. So we're running this because again it's red, and the top 2 rearrange is probably better in a deck like this than just the 2 soul as a 1 of. Level 1 still playing Christmas Kasumi. I don't know how much this card is, and I'm too afraid to look, but wanted to play it. It's on door. It works with everything. You don't have to worry about stupid band shit or things not working. You just play the card, you get your star. You play your star, you get the card. You play the climax, you get the star again. You just do that forever until you die or you win. The Kasumi bomb, because it pumps our Kasumi that's already pretty big to help us beat over 2 standby lanes. We can bomb out 1 and then run over another. Really wanted to play this card too. It was like shoving this and the Chiuri in the deck that like after all this other stuff that kind of made my like level 0 utility package go down pretty low, because the best part about a card like Warehouse is that it always exchanges for a 0. You can have have like some really cool techie level 0 lineups, and I wanted to try to do that, but because the package demands so many cards, you could greed down cards, but I think you'd end up like shooting yourself in the foot doing that anyway. But it's still, the package is still good. It's really good deck manipulation, really good deck speed, especially, and a lot more consistent with the Chiri now as it was previously. Moving into level 2 to the Pareo. We'll talk about that when we get to the Choo-Choo. Package is broken. One of the 2/1 Remy, when just Choo-Choo just somehow isn't big enough. This card's always been disgusting into board-based fields. It clears 2 lanes because it bumps 1500 times event. Really important tech card in the standby for BanG Dream. They're one of the first sets to have it, and I think almost every set that has this profile is like tried to play it when people are playing standby. I've even seen it played in Dow, which doesn't even need the card, but people still play it. Free Fresh Counter. It's one of the cards in the choice list, so we can play it all. So we play the Free Fresh Counter. Really good panic button. 2 buns for luck. 2/1 stock swap. They don't print those no more. The fact that you can do it at 2, the fact that you can just pay 1 stock and do it means your opponent's always on edge. They always have to count this card. Card's disgustingly good. And we have Chiri to be able to grab it more consistently, because it's not a bad card to pick up even early and just sit on. Card worth playing on a 6-card hand for. And then getting into the level 3s, I'll talk about the Remy last. Choo-Choo early pay package, we talked about this in the set review. Had to play it at a 3-2 split, wanted to play it at a 4-2 split, or maybe even a 4-3 split, but I could not justify the slots because of all the slots that Pop and Party package eats. But the Choo-Choo's like this ridiculous. If this and the Pareo are on board, it's like a 13k like twin drive hand-on core gremlin monster, and the Pareo is also like a 9-5 or 10-5 or something. You just get these 2 massive lanes, which helps you, control the board even in standby matchups at level 2. Then we have one of the Fumio, also a ban card that we get to play, which is really nice with our finisher, which is just Coco Achino that heals. The drawback being it's pay 1, ditch specifically this Saya from your hand. This level 0 Saya. You must ditch this level 0 Saya from your hand for the Coco Achino to work, which is really, really fucking annoying. But at least our star always adds back our Saya, which is why I went for this package as opposed to another combo. Even though the Cosme is old, stuff like that, it's simple, and you can always exchange for the Saya that you always need. And then because you're playing 8 door, we can always pick up our level 3s and stuff like that when we trigger door, which we undoubtedly will, because you always trigger a bunch of climaxes. But yeah, that's the like basic idea. I'm upset I lost so many slots, and I could see like the frustrations people had like very quickly when they were talking about like building 8 door, especially for English, because you want to play all these really powerful cards that are restricted in Japanese that like eat your slots for other packages. And just the fact that you have to run 4 of the Sayas, like, I don't know, it feels pretty bad just to have a Kokachino when there are things that keep up with Kokachino, in my opinion, out there right now. Specifically stuff like Kaguya and whatnot, like just burns at different timing. But I still think it's pretty cool. If you still have your Christmas Cosmes or whatever and you want to play a brand new deck, I definitely give this a try.
Yeah, I really like the Kokachino finisher. That's like really cheap cost, like pay 1, ditch 1.
Well,
even though it's a specific card.
The cost is that you need the specific card, yeah. It's the
but even though, still, I mean, you have the 4 warehouses to grab them, and you're running 8 door triggers, so, compared to a lot of other sets out there, you probably have
you get there more often
much
than not.
easier time.
Yeah.
Probably a lot more achievable.
But yeah, I think it's definitely something worth testing. I think this is probably in contention for like one of the better decks you could make, like mixed band, although this is Poppy focused. I think the worst part of playing this package is that you don't play the Choo-Choo engine, like the Choo-Choo package, as well as the other decks. Because I think the other decks that are playing the Choo-Choo package get to really lean into that really hard, and they get rewarded for it a lot more than this deck will.
I mean, in this deck, you are more heavy into red. You do get 2 because you're playing the warehouses. You get to play the 2/1 Remy that gets very big, or you can, and you also are able to play buns because you're so skewed heavily into red, unlike the other decks that people seem to be leaning towards with these new BanG Dream cards.
But yeah, that's
I think if you really wanted to fit in like an extra Choo-Choo early play, or like increase the counts on those packages by like 1 of each or something, I think you could probably get away cutting like a copy of Buns for Luck and a copy of maybe like one of the utility level ones, or like one of those Cosme bombs, like one of those.
I don't know. I think the list is already really, really greedy.
It is greedy, but
yeah.
I think wanting to play the 2/1 Remy at all is greedy. I think wanting to play Free Fresh Counter is already greedy. I honestly think playing Chiri is
instead of
greedy.
playing the 2/1 Remy bomb, you could just if you're turning it into more early plays and
maybe
Pareos that get big anyway, that kind of like fills the same role.
I feel that like if you're sculpting to play Choo to, like, you're not, I don't know, like Brian can talk about it more when he gets to his deck, but like you have to invest a lot of sculpting and setup to be able to pop off with your finisher in as many copies as possible. Even just 2 lanes of the Kokachino is probably a lot to ask for this deck to set up, like triple being like really hard if you're gonna also play the Choo-Choo, because the Choo-Choo is like you played on 3, it's 3 stock, right? And then you're gonna try, and you don't have any additional stock gen, which is why it was so hard to, you know, not play clean cut. I really wanted to play clean cut, but I just thought it was like a little bit rougher into what people are probably running right now. But yeah, that's just my take on it. I think that there's probably other decks if you have everything that you want to play, but if you want to break out your old Christmas Cosme and, you know, give that deck a fresh coat of paint, this probably runs a hell of a lot better than stuff previously. Even probably the Mocha stuff. I think it probably runs, it's probably a lot more destructive than the like door bar Mocha decks. That deck was like very stable, but very like didn't always get there because it didn't have a lot of push.
Yeah, I feel that Kokachino is as destructive as they come, especially when you compare it to Mocha, who is just
they cancel on 3
vanilla swing that they can still cancel.
Yeah, two pings is not damage to be laughed at for sure in this game.
All right, well, we can move on.
Yeah, sure. So next up, we got my deck I prepared here, which is a update to my Reze Sulin deck that I have a deck profile up on the channel for already. But yeah, so this is pure Reze Sulin. So if you're one of those people who likes Band League or just a really big fan of Reze Sulin, this is the deck for you. And compared to like Carmen's build and any of the other builds that really need a lot of the older cards to function from the many previous Bang Dream sets, since Reze Sulin has only been introduced in this set and then the set prior to this in Bang Dream Volume 2, you don't have to scour through as many old sets to find the good cards that you need. So definitely probably the cheapest, like most budget list here. And Reze Sulin has some very powerful payoff cards still too. So I think definitely very worthwhile building. So yeah, starting off, we got 4 copies of the Clean Cut, fantastic new tool that Bang Dream now has access to in general. And lucky for us, it is a Reze Sulin character. Gets a level and 1500 power if you can hit the top check with it, just like Rem from ReZero. Next card, 3 copies of the Layer Ricky. This is one of the few cards in the deck from set 1 that you would want to go back and pick up, or I mean from Bang Dream Volume 2, the first Raz set. This is the other Ricky option instead of the Yukina. This is a salvage Ricky. And I guess probably a good thing to mention too, like Carmen was saying earlier, the Yukina Rickies are all like $40 right now, which is crazy. So I guess maybe in the meantime, if you wanted to build that deck, you could probably get away with the Layer Rickies like in the meantime until the prices stabilize on the new set. But yeah, having a Ricky is just always a good thing. Next card is, I can't read the name of the card from here, but it is a layer that sinks something when you play it. It's very similar to the Neon Cat and Ruby that people have been pretty hot on recently. If they have 1 or less characters on their center stage, you can kill one of their level 0s and send it to the bottom of deck. And other effect on this is when it attacks, you give 500 power times the number of other characters to one of your characters. And since we have a reverse combo at level 1, and just throughout the game, if you want to try to hit over something, that effect throughout the game stays useful. So that's why I'm opting to run 3 copies of this. Getting into another new card here, the next one is whenever damage dealt by it is canceled, you can pop it back to your hand. But so it's kind of like a pseudo plussing 0 if you need if you open with it or whatever, something nice you can throw down if you're tri-fielding with your Clean Cut, since it can also maybe pop back to hand. But that's not the reason it's in the deck. That's just a happy little accident. The first effect on the card is when it attacks, you can discard a card from your hand to Twin Drive. So unlike most Twin Drives where they go stock neutral because you're paying 1 to trigger twice, with this card you're discarding a card to trigger twice, so you actually net an extra stock here. And since I'm trying to pop off at level 2 with multiple early plays and some event cards that can get a little bit expensive, having access to some stock charging options is nice. And then since it's on attack, you pay the cost too. You can always swing with this last and discard a gold bar or a climax that just ends up in your hand when you trigger a book or a gold bar. So some good utility there just to pay out climaxes from your hand. Then we got 2 copies of the Brainstorm. She is a salvage Brainstorm for Raise Sulin characters only, but that's not a drawback since the whole deck's Raise Sulin. And she is also a cost bomb at level 0. Really nice target to use with the clean cut. You can use your Suicider to kill one of their level 0 characters guaranteed, especially since she's 500 power. She'll be under or tie with anything. So you'll always get the bottom deck bomb effect off, and then you clean cut it back to the back row where it can just sit for the rest of the game and be your Brainstorm, which is what you want anyway. 2 copies of the Chu2 Rico profile, I think that's what they call them. On play, you can discard a card to look at the top card of your deck and salvage a character equal to that level or lower. Just a really good profile to have in general, I think. Some really nice filtering power, especially in a deck where you have Gold Bar and Book, which can sometimes flood your hand with climaxes. So having a free way to just exchange a climax, or really whatever you want for anything else that you want, is really nice. And it gives you knowledge on your next trigger too. And then rounding out level 0s here, I have this 1 of Lock. On play, you can pay 1 and discard a card to look at X cards from the top of your deck and add anything to your hand. Since we're sticking to mono Raise Sulin here, we don't have access to that Rui Climax swap that's in Morphonica, but this is just another little bit of Climax insurance in case we need to dig into one of our Climax combos, particularly at level 3. So just a nice little tool to have just in case you, for whatever reason, can't find that Gold Bar. Going into level 1, I'm running the old Chu2 combo from the first set. On attack, it gives 1,000 power anywhere, and the Climax combo gives any one of your characters on reverse search your deck. So one of the weaknesses of these on reverse search combos in general is that if your opponent doesn't leave you a full field, or if they have runners, or ways to just dodge your character swinging at them, you can just sometimes not get your level 1 combo off, or at least sometimes you wouldn't be able to get multiple lanes off. But this completely circumvents the problem because you can stack all the Climax combos in the whatever lane you want, which is my favorite thing to do with the card. Put all the search effects on the last one you swing with, and then it gets the extra power from the power boost too. So all the power boost and all the search effects go to the last Chu2 there. And then on reverse, you get to search your deck for 3 characters, which is some really nice extra compression on your first deck after your combat step. So that's really cool, and that's why I still prefer this combo, I think, to the new combo for level 1 for Raise Sulin, which is the Gold Bar combo. Basically the same thing as the Chu2, but it salvages instead. I really value the first deck, just ripping 3 clean cards out of your deck and then getting some cancels on your first deck. But if you were wanting to try the 8 Gold Bar build, you could easily just swap the Chu2s out for the new layer combo at level 1. They're pretty interchangeable. And then Carmen, I think you're going to really like this next card here. This is the same thing as it's Nolan, your boy from Ruby.
Oh, card's great.
Yo.
Yeah.
He Nolan.
Throwing that in there kind of at level 1 as essentially kind of like a 5th copy of the Chu2 combo. Like I said earlier, it's pretty frustrating when your opponent has a runner or something and can deny your combos. And part of the effect of this layer, the Nolan profile, lets you lock down one of your opponent's characters so they can't move it. So you can force them to have to stay and eat the reverse from Chu2, which is very handy. And then Raise Sulin finally got a level 1 backup, a good one. It is just a 2,000 power backup that refunds your stock if your whole field's music characters, which it always is going to be. And then going into level 2, like Carmen mentioned in his 8-door deck, I have the Pareo and Chu2 early play package. Carmen went into pretty good detail about it, but just to rehash it here, the level 2 Pareo gives, if you have the 3-2 early play on your field, the 2-1 gets 5,500 extra power itself. So the 2-1 is 10-5. You have the early play on field and gets Encore from having the early play on field. And then it also gives your early play 3 extra effects. It gives it plus 2,000 power and the ability cannot be reversed by auto effects, the ability to twin drive, and untargetable by your opponent's effects. So it's a really nasty early play board that you can now set up with any BanG Dream deck, getting access to a 10-5 with Hand Encore and then just a supercharged early play that's untargetable. It's just super great. Yep, and then splitting that 2-1 Pareo, which is kind of like an assist card because it gives 2,000 power to your Choo-2s. I also have one copy of this other Choo-2 assist, which is normal level assist, and then you can rest it to take one of your characters on field and put it into your stock. So, like I mentioned earlier with the 1 level 0 that you can discard to Twin Drive, this is just another way to build up some extra stock if you're ending up with more hand than stock, since you can just play something down and sacrifice it into your stock right away. And then 3 copies of the event counter. I'll get to that in a moment when I talk about the other early play in the set, and 1 copy of the Change the World event, which actually isn't locked to Raz. I think the 2-0 blue event's really good. You could play it in any Bang Dream deck, really. It's just when you play it, you get to choose. You either search your deck for a character, add it to hand, or you give 3,000 power and send the event card to stock. So it's, again, another way to stock charge yourself. And since I'm not really running any, I'm relying mostly on my early plays to clear my opponent's early plays or their higher level boards. So since I'm not running like the Adachi or any sort of like bomb option, the game plan is if I need to, I just use one of the level 0 layers that pumps power or this Change the World event to give myself a little extra power to get over whatever I need to. And then looking at the level 3s, we'll start off with the other early play in the deck, which is the Glasses Lock. She early plays if you have a full field of Reze Sulin and gets 1,000 extra power to boot. But this is, I think, still probably the big payoff card for going mono Raz, to refresh everyone on what it does. On the turn you play it, at the beginning of your climax step, you can accelerate. So you take a music character from your waiting room and put it into your clock on the bottom. So you have to take a damage to do this, but on attack, you get to search your deck for 2 in any combination of Reze Sulin characters or the 2-2 event from earlier. And the 2-2 event is if your full field's Reze Sulin, you need that condition to play the card. And when you use the counter, you choose one of your opponent's characters, it gets -2 soul, and then you can draw and discard. So just really an overall really good tool for the Reze Sulin deck. Again, if you're flooding out on climaxes from book and bar, it's a way that you can filter some of those out of your hand. And a good way to help yourself stay at level 2 also, and throttle damage from your opponent. Since you have to clock yourself with the lock early play to get the search effect off, being able to prevent damage is like very important, so you're not just rocketing yourself to level 3. But I think it's worth it overall, since you get the event to help fog your opponent's damage, as well as, again, compressing yourself 2 out of your deck and getting whatever you want in any combination. Then 4 copies of the Choo-2 early play also. I usually like to split my early play conditions if I can, which is something I like about this deck. The Choo-2 early plays with 2 or less climaxes, and the lock is a full field early play. So you don't have to worry about like having too many climaxes in your waiting room and just like not ever being able to get an early play off. You can always get like an early play down, and you just play the Choo-2 before the lock. And probably the most important thing Reze Sulin got in this newest set is an actual finisher. That was like the Achilles heel of the deck before, was it just had a super vanilla shit finisher. But now we actually have a real finisher. On play, you get to search your deck for any music character you want, and the climax combo on attack, you discard 2 cards from your hand, and you burn your opponent for 2, and then you get to look at the top card of their deck and put it on the top or bottom of their deck. So you kind of get like a little bit of a mocha effect on there. I guess you could look at it that way after your damage, but on attack, burn 2, and then before your next attack, you could try to put a clean card on top of their deck. Yeah, not much else to say about that other than it's a real finisher, and that's something the deck really needed. So I'm really glad we got one.
Yeah, it looks good.
Yeah, that's basically it for the deck. Like I mentioned earlier, I know there's a lot of really good cards in the new set that push you to playing the new level 1 bar combo. Again, if you wanted to play 8 bar, there's some really good payoff cards for that as well. Basically, you just switch the level 1 combo around, and then you do have access to a filter if you want it. It's a weird one. It's like a level 0 attacker that on play discards a climax to salvage, and then whenever your character triggers whenever it attacks, it gives all your characters, if you trigger a gold bar, you can draw a discard. So you basically get the Sakura Brainstorm gold bar filter, but it's like on attack, it gives it to all your characters. So you have to swing with it first.
Wait, is it clock or is it, you said it's draw ditch?
Yeah, it's draw ditch.
Oh, Oh, okay.
Oh yeah, Sakura switches from her clock, doesn't she?
Yeah. It's like I think draw ditch has been that's like the safe bar filter.
Yeah, that's why I was getting confused because
they don't give out the good ones very much anymore.
Yeah, the clock filter, the
clock or salvage
style,
or God knows what else. The draw ditch is good enough. You just want to get the bars out.
Yeah, exactly.
Nice.
So that's like another option you could go with the deck, but I really like the lock early play. I didn't want to give that card up, so that's one of the nice things you get for going mono Ras is you still get to play the lock early play with the event, and I'm very much looking forward to playing this deck.
All right, I think we're good to move to Brian's.
Sounds good.
All right, bring us home, Brian.
All right, the last deck we've got here is Choice Pants. This is the quote-unquote meta list that I've seen people talk about. I mean, don't quote me on that for sure. Bang Dream has such a deep card pool that there are multiple other lists I'm sure that function close to as well as this one does, but this seems to be what people are gravitating towards from what I've heard personally. But jumping into it, at level 0 here we have 4 copies of this Nanami, I think is her name. The card gets 1500 power if it is the only character you control on the board, or if you have one other character, sits at 35, and it does run to the open left position of your front row. So it is an oversize or close to it in this current meta. It gets to 3500 power, but is also evasive, so it can get out of the way of clean cuts, which I know are pretty prevalent in the meta right now. Second card on the list here, 4 copies of the Yukina Riki. Riki's just a super good card in Bang Dream, where generally your game plan is to set your deck up, get your level 1 combo, fire off, completely ignore what your opponent's doing, fishbowl, play your own game, and then get to level 3 and fire off your combo. So anything that makes your level 1 more reliable will take, so that you can get your pluses and be on your way to making your game as clean as possible. The Yukina also has the second effect. When damage in its lane is canceled, when your opponent is attacking Yukina, you can also pop her back to your hand. So she occasionally pluses, but we are definitely playing her for the on-play Search Riki effect. 3 copies of the Pareo Clean Cut. Like Andy said, it's like the Rem Clean Cut from ReZero. On play, reveal top card. If it's music trait, this card gains 1500 power and a level for the turn, and it's also a clean cut, gets to 3500 level 1, can run over bombs, snipe weak lanes, and it unfortunately isn't as relevant throughout the entire game as other clean cuts like the Yang from Ruby, which can give power to any lane, but the clean cut still gets to 3500 and is potentially able to snipe weak lanes, save your stuff throughout the course of the game, but mostly functions as an additional plussing 0 at level 0. 2 copies of the Tsukushi Brainstorm. The card is a 4-card search brainstorm. Unfortunately, I'd prefer if this was a salvage brainstorm, but the second effect is pretty good. In Bang Dream, we are generally running fairly lean on stock, and this card has a second effect, act ability. Put 2 cards from your hand to the waiting room and sack this. Choose any music character in your waiting room with a level equal to or lower than your current level, and pull it out, put it into the stage in the position that this card was on. So this card allows you to get situational level 3s onto the board, get your finisher out at a moment's notice without having to spend any stock, especially if you're trying to save that stock for your combo itself. After that, 2 copies of the Tsukushi Chieri from the trial deck. On death, discard a card, look it up to 4 cards, take a level 1 or higher card from among them. Another card that just allows you to fix your deck, gives you 4 cards worth of deck speed, lets you get climaxes or cards that you don't want in your hand out of your hand and into the waiting room, and also allows you to grab things you do want, like your finisher, your early play package, or the level 1 combo. We are playing 1 copy of the Rui Climax Swap. On play, pay 1, ditch a climax, take a climax back from your waiting room. The card also, unfortunately, has a mandatory 2-card mill on play, which can be a little bit awkward sometimes, but it also, if you do hit a level 0 character in that 2-card mill, gets to side attack for free, which is a relevant effect in today's standby-centric meta. Allows you to get a full power attack and keep a body on the board for the crackback instead of having to crash. We're playing 1 copy of an old card, On Stage Hogami, from the original Girls Band Party set. The card on play allows you to clock the top card of your deck and ditch a card and search your deck for 1 yellow climax, specifically a yellow climax, and give one of your characters 1000 power for the turn. But the primary function, obviously, obviously, is to grab a yellow climax on demand. Like I said, talking about the Ricky, in Bang Dream, you want your game to be as consistent as possible so that you can fire off your same game plan every single game. And this card is, in addition to the climax swap before it, is another way that allows you to consistently make sure you have your choice climax at level 1. Not to mention the fact that the second trigger in the deck is Pants, which also helps with that immensely. Last level 0 here is this Chew 2. Like Andy said, it is the Rico effect style card on play. Discard a card from your hand, reveal the top card of your deck, look at the level of the revealed card, and salvage a character of that level or lower. Another card that allows you to get cards that you don't want in your hand out of your hand and get back, at worst, one of your multiple utility zeros. Moving on to level 1, we are obviously at 4 copies of our level 1 combo. This Nanami sits at 5,500 power if you have 2 or more other music characters, and climax combo on attack, ditch a music character from your hand, look at up to 5 cards from the top of your deck, and add up to 2 characters from among them. So not only does it allow you to get like level 3s or random level 0s that you don't want in your hand out of your hand at this point in the game, but also allows you to pick 2 additional characters from the top 5 cards of your deck to add back in. So it gives you a little bit of sculpting power, sits at a good power level, 5,500 power cross turn, which will be 6k cross turn with our next card here. This Toko gives all of your music characters 500 power continuous, has act, pay 1, rest 2 of your characters. This is a pseudo replacement brainstorm effect in this deck. Put the top 2 cards of your deck into waiting room, add the levels of those cards together, and salvage a character of the sum of those levels or lower. So it is another card that allows you to get back whatever you want from your waiting room, depending on what you hit, and at worst, you get back one of your utility zeros, while also giving 500 global power and keeping your level 1 combo at 6k, which is a reasonable power level. Does get crested by standby, but in some matches, your opponents will definitely be side attacking around it or crashing into it. The third effect on the Toko level 1, at the beginning of your climax step, you can swap it into the other Toko, the next card here. And the other Toko is just a Shimakai style card on attack, gives 500 power times the number of your other music characters, so it gives 2k, and then it changes back at the beginning of your climax. Wait, am I reading that right? Beginning of your climax step, you can change this.
Yeah, I remember this was the weird one. We had
it is weird,
a lot of discussion about this during the set review.
So this one does not change back and forth like the other packages, but this one changes back and forth at the start of your climax step for both of them. So you have to make that choice when you get to the climax step, which one you want to have on your board going forward.
Oh, they change back.
Do they? I have them both up here. They both say
at the beginning of your climax phase, you may put this card in your waiting room. If you do, choose the other one, put it in the position that's belongs.
Right, and the other one also says at the beginning of your climax phase, you may pay the cost.
Yeah, so you can change one into the other.
Correct. Yeah, you have to
but
choose
only
which
a climax
one you have going
phase.
forward. These aren't the normal change back and forth style where one changes at the start of the climax step into the attacker, and then at the start of your opponent's draw.
Oh, yeah. They stick.
This is not one of those. You have to choose which one you want to have going forward. They both change at the start of the climax step.
The way that it's intended to work, I think, is that if you have the Shimakai and the Shimakai is like not that great in the matchup you're in and you don't need it, you can always leave it in your back row and like change it for this other card that's going forward. And then if you need to like shove up your other card, it becomes a better attacking card.
Yeah, they're functional. They're functional extra copies of the other one, whichever one is better in your current situation.
Yeah, it's definitely slower. It's not like the other ones, like you're saying.
Yeah, I definitely misread that, but it still is definitely something worth playing. Finishing up level 1 here, 1 copy of the Adachi. On play, lets you look at the top card of your deck, keep it there or put it on the bottom, giving you a little bit of information, always relevant. But obviously, second effect, it is an Adachi. It's a blue Adachi, so when it crashes into something of a higher level than it and becomes reversed, you can put that character at the bottom of your opponent's deck. Card does have a soul trigger also, you're playing choice, so you are able to grab it with a little bit more ease than you would in other decks. Moving on to level 2, 3 copies of the Pareo 2-1 that goes in the Chew 2 package. Package has been talked to death at this point. Chew 2 gets to 10-5 power, has hand on core if the Chew 2 is on board, and also gives the Chew 2 hexproof twin drive and can't be reversed by your opponent's auto effects, in addition to 2k extra power, so the Pareo gets to 10-5 and the Chew 2 sits at 13. Pretty relevant for cracking over the standby boards that are prevalent in the meta right now. all while having a 13k hexproof twin driving early play. So definitely worth playing. Going pretty hard into it with 3 copies of the Perea, but it is definitely worth the payoff you get from playing those cards. I'm at level 3. Before jumping into the combo, running 1 copy of the Orisa Fumio. Decompression, always relevant. Shuffles back 1 Climax into your opponent's deck. Unfortunately, it's not one of the Aqua from Konosuba or Rin from Love Live style in English 2 Climax shuffle back Fumios. But it does, if your opponent is in a state with a lot of clean cards in their waiting room, you can shuttle those back in and make your finisher dick damage a little bit more reliably. So the finisher, running 4 copies of the Mashiro finisher, gets 500 power for each of your other characters, only gets up to 10-5, heals on play, and Climax combo. When damage dealt by this card is canceled, you can pay 2, send the finisher itself to memory, choose one of your other music characters in waiting room, and put it standing in the position that this card was on, ready to attack. So it attacks. If the damage is canceled, it swaps out for something else. You can pull out another copy of it and continue the train. The combo itself is relatively cheap. It does cost 2, but you do build 1 stock when you attack. The combo fires during the damage step, so you can just keep running through Mashiros until you finish up there, and then eventually end on one of the other Mashiros. The next one here next to the Chu-2, the Mashiro from the trial deck. Card is when your opponent attacks you, if you don't cancel, you get to damage scry. You get to look at the top card of your deck, either keep it there or send it to the waiting room. But the card also, as your final attacker in the chain, has pay 1, ditch a card, and Icy Tail your opponent for 3. So it does offer a little bit of extra burn while also affording you a little bit of protection as the last link in your Mashiro cancel train. The final card I have here, which I did change on my list before. I need to pull up what this one does. In my current,
did change it. Okay.
Yeah, in my current version of the list, I'm playing the new Yukino level 3. The one that on play lets you ditch 2 Roselia characters to stock swap your opponent, and then also is a when you don't cancel damage scry, just like the trial deck Mashiro. What does this one do?
It's okay. I fixed it. There you go.
Okay, Yukino's here. Yeah, like I said, the Yukino is on play, ditch 2 Roselia characters, stock swap your opponent. So similar to the Orisa next to it, gives you another way to decompress your opponent. Even if you just hold it in your hand all game, the threat of a stock swap makes it so that your opponent can't just sit on a pile of stock and compress and cancel for the entire game, because they know this thing could potentially come down and ruin them, while also being a potential extra pseudo copy of the trial deck Mashiro, giving you that damage scry effect to potentially protect you into the end game. But that is about it for this list. I really like the Mashiro cancel train effect. It is like 8 choice slime, which we also have in English right now. The Rimuru finisher has a very similar effect. But I think the toolboxy aspect of BanG Dream, the fact that BanG Dream has so many cards at its disposal right now, really makes this card be able to shine. They have such because they have access to the stock swap at level 3. They have access to the Fumio at level 3. All these damage cancel effects. The Chu-2 early play package to beat down over standby just makes the deck seem really strong, in my opinion. Any other thoughts?
I think that the choice trigger just lets you play into the Chu-2 so much harder. Gives you extra stock.
Sure. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Lets you slam down those with reckless abandon. The stock swap not being live a lot is funny, but like you could do it, which is enough for someone to play around it.
No, I mean you don't have to play it for the stock swap, but the fact that you can stock swap is what matters.
Yeah, and it's another damage scryer. So if you don't get there with Mashiro, if they cancel, it's like it's no skin off your back to put down the damage scryer, get in like maybe some extra damage. Maybe they die, maybe they don't. If they don't, you probably live.
As far as the stock swap is concerned, it is ditch 2 Roselia characters. The only other Roselia characters in this deck other than the stock swap are the 4 Yukino Rikis. But if you really wanted to go for it, you definitely could. You have a lot of ways. You have the Chu-2 Rico. You have all of your
the Toko
brainstorm and brainstorm-esque effects that let you at the very minimum grab a level 0 from waiting room, which is all that you need to grab the Yukinos back.
Being able to play the Jinsu is really cool. I think that's something this deck can do that none of the other ones can. Is it because it's locked to yellow? Yeah,
there aren't a lot of BanG Dream decks that play yellow, mostly because Hello Happy World is for the most part kind of locked to itself. So Morphonica is the first time that some of the other yellow cards are able to come out and play.
Yeah, really like that about like, because Hello Happy World wasn't locked to a trait like the other bands. Like most of the other bands are locked to like Pastel Palette trait or Roselia trait or Poppin' Party trait or whatever. But Hello Happy World's shtick was that they were yellow.
They were yellow cards.
So everything on the Hello Happy World cards tends to reference yellow cards. So you have something like the Jinsu, or they also have an Azusa also for yellow cards only.
Yellow cards, yep, yellow characters, the Karu.
So I think it's definitely possible, if you're someone who wants to play like a yellow heavier build, you could probably get some of those really powerful Hello Happy World cards into your deck that Bushiroad might not have intended to work with the Morphonica stuff, but it does.
Yellow's back, boys.
Yeah, three very different decks. Just wanted to get something out there since Bang Dream has just come out, like we talked about at the beginning of the video.
Yeah, and I think like especially for this new set, I feel like, and I commend Bushiroad for this, it's something they've been doing recently, is like a lot of their set 2s that they've been coming out with, right? Like if you look at Sword Art Alice 2, Become a Slime 2, Heaven's Feel Fate Stay Night 2, like all these second sets, you get a lot of tools that you can use with some of the older stuff, but if you want to build a strong meta viable deck, you can just pretty much pick up the new set and it's pretty self-contained for the most part. There's like a very strong build right out of the box.
Yeah, most of the new sets definitely have. They don't leave you high and dry. They have at least something workable out of the box. They have at least 2 very strong, like a level 1 and a level 3 climax combo that you can build around, and some support tools for that. Obviously, you need, in a lot of cases, some of the older stuff to really get the build or make the build reach its maximum potential. But
yeah, true. But that's one thing I really like about this Choice Pants build you talked about, Brian, is that it's pretty much self-contained to mostly the stuff from the new set. Outside of a couple tech cards like the level 3 Orisa or like level 0 Hagami.
But I mean,
the vast majority of the deck's new.
Yeah, I mean, even then you could, those are just tech picks, and you could definitely play this deck out of the box without those. Play, a third copy of the Mashiro level 3 and a second Chu2 Rico, and the deck would still function just as well.
Yeah, definitely really cool.
Definitely a really good build if you're just getting into Bang Dream. I think that's probably like a good go-to build.
Yeah, you only need cards from, I guess it's from both boosters, but the Yukina Ricky's the only one. The other one's all more fast.
You're not going to have to hunt down $40 toilets or however much they're worth now.
Now you get to hunt down $40 Yukina Ricky's. Hopefully that...
hopefully that corrects currently. I think it just wasn't opened as much as some of the other ones.
Being an extra booster and all.
Extra booster, and it's not like a, crazy popular anime. Popular to us because we're entrenched in Bushiroad products, but not to everyone. Like Sal.
We love the Bang Dream. We love the idols.
All right, last slide. Same thing we do every video. Card games competitive Discords. We don't run or operate them, but we are in them, and they are very active. You guys can give those a join. Talk about Weiss, play Weiss on webcam, do all that. The Weiss Schwartz Global and NA. Looking to buy, sell, trade. Definitely check those out. And then Weiss Fight. You don't have your Bang Dream cards yet, and you want to try out any of these decks, you can grab the Encore decks links in the description. Go on Weiss Fight. Make an account, plug it in, and then you're playing in your browser with people from all over the world without having to download or install anything. Kind of like Dueling Book if you've ever used that for Yu-Gi-Oh, which is really, really convenient. There's a Discord down there and a Patreon if you want to support the project, leave some feedback. The dev is very supportive and attentive to things to make the app better, so definitely give that a look if you are interested in helping out that community project. Andy, Brian, anything else before we get out of here?
Nothing from me.
That's all I got. That's it for your boy here.
All right, and with that, Pittsburgh Weiss Schwartz signing off. We'll see you guys in the next one.